less success with that last recommendation. And again, just on the west side of Manhattan, we proposed that you know, an area that was underutilized, a lot of parking lots, a spaghetti surface parking and so forth, be transformed into an expansion of our central business district. We ran into the heart of it, a rail yard on the west side, and again we tangled with Mayor Bloomberg over this one, who wanted to build a football stadium that would also be his Olympic stadium on the west side. We put together, as RPA does, a set of arguments why, from an economic point of view, an urban design, a mobility point of view, this didn't make any sense, and proposed instead a mixed-use development with about 12 million square feet of new commercial and retail and residential space and new public spaces on the waterfront. We won, and the stadium went to New Jersey, which is where we wanted it to go, and now the mayor considers the Hudson Yards development project we're building on our proposal is one of his biggest legacy projects. So, you know, we've made up and so forth. But on occasion, one of the things that an NGO has to do is to say, well, that really isn't a very good idea. And most of the time we work with government, but in some cases we do, you know, end up locking horns and winning, I guess, some of the time. You know, we're still at it of creating a new set of infrastructure systems. We've just completed a long-range plan for the airports to deal with congestion and the new capacity that we're going to need at the airports. Forecasts that show emplanements going up by another 40 million by the 2030s, and we did this in partnership with the Port Authority, one of our major public authorities that manages the airports. But this is something that they have not been able to do because of the challenges of building major public works and NIMBY opposition and so forth. So we did this master plan and then laid out a set of strategies, creating a new airport in the Hudson Valley, expanding high-speed rail in the Northeast, new air traffic control system. We find ourselves the leading advocates for a national air traffic control system because nobody else is doing it. And then expanding Newark and JFK airports, adding new runways and new terminal capacity in all of these places. So this is a big part of what we do at RPA. And all of this comes under the heading. We're also looking now, and Ed Glazer and I had a chance to chat over lunch at the Northeast mega region and the network of cities stretching from Boston to DC, and the need to create greater synergies between these cities, and the potential for a new high-speed rail link that would help create those synergies. So what we're in the business of doing at RPA, and this is what I think needs to happen in every metropolitan region, is that we need to have institutions of one sort or another. And Nick Ronderos and I've just completed a review looking at options for governance of metropolitan areas here in Columbia, but the principles apply, you know, almost anywhere. We looked at the state of the art around the world in regional governance system, not government, because in many cases institutions like RPA that are collaborative governance institutions are emerging, so regional governance is needed and regional planning is needed to get ahead of the curve. You simply can't have the kind of growth that you're projecting here in Bogota and succeed unless you have a long-range regional plan that lays out a permanent kind of eco structure for the region, a permanent infrastructure system for the region, the big transportation and water systems and so forth, an urban structure that's organized around those things. And then finally, and this is the new part of our work, is an info structure that looks at the knowledge networks and fiber optic networks that support the information economy and advanced service industries and so forth. And all of those need to be in place if cities like Bogota and its counterparts in regions like this one, and it isn't just center cities, it's regions, the metropolitan areas are going to succeed. One of the things we're doing now at RPA, it's one of the first times we've collaborated with the federal government on something like this. We're doing a sustainable communities project involving 2 of the 3 states. New Jersey was in, and then Governor Christie decided to drop out, but you know, we're continue to work with them. Basically, it's a region-wide network of transit-oriented development projects around the expanded commuter and regional rail networks that RPA has been planning. So altogether, it's several thousand acres of brownfield sites and transit-oriented development sites that are being planned now and that will be developed around an expanding regional rail network. Just in closing, the business of regional planning, not for the faint of heart, not for the impatient. This is something that we've been at for nearly a century, and it's a little like every spring my wife hands me a set of rags and some window cleaner and says, "Time to wash the windows." And I said, "Well, I just did that last fall." And she said, "Yeah, well, it's been a few months, and so it's time to do it again." And regional planning is kind of like that. That this is something you need to get started, you need to do it, and then you need to stay with it. And so the challenge facing Bogota and every other major metro region across Latin America is going to be to create the regional institutions to manage these large infrastructure and ecostructure and urban structure systems, and now the infrastructure to create long-range, comprehensive region-wide plans, to build the political will to move ahead and make the investments and to manage these systems for the benefit of this generation of residents of these regions and for generations to come. Thank you.